Dr. Sonali Agrawal is an associate professor in the IT department at the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad, with a bachelor's from BIT Chhattisgarh and a master's from MNIT Allahabad. Her foundation in engineering has captured her PhD research and academic career at IIIT Allahabad, focusing on big data and stream analytics and software engineering. Leading the big data analytics lab and the software engineering research lab at IIIT Allahabad, she is focused on advancing software engineering for AI and AI for software engineering. Her skill sets include hands-on experience with high-performance computing, like Apache Spark and Apache Flink. Her scholarly works include over 150 publications, and she has contributed significantly to international conferences and research collaborations in many European and Asian countries. She has chaired conferences such as ISEC 2023, CONIP 2022, BDA 2021, and MISP 2019, and initiated the core data science workshop series. As a PI and project manager of Erasmus TEAL 2.0 at IIIT Allahabad and an active member of IEEE and ACM. Her global outreach and editorial contributions to the SCI indexed journals reflect her commitment to academia and research. Mentoring is a vital aspect of her role. She is guiding 9 PhD scholars and numerous UG and PG students, focusing on their growth in data analytics and machine learning. So, with a big round of applause, I would like to invite Dr. Sonali Agrawal. So, ma'am, please.
Morning to all of you. I'm here to share my knowledge and experience this particular topic. So you can see, can we trust AI, ML model and applications? So basically it is focused towards explainable AI. So we will see how explainable AI or XAI is bridging the gap between the models as well as the human trust. So before moving ahead, I take this opportunity to acknowledge and my sincere thanks to Professor Ashish Ghosh for inviting me for this reputed forum. I'm also very much thankful to Dr. Sanjay Saxena, Dr. Deepak Kumar sir, for giving us this wonderful hospitality and all necessary support. I'm thankful to the entire organizing committee members to making this possible to organize such type of events for all of us. And I would like to acknowledge the contribution of Ms. Tripti Rao, who is a research scholar, and she is working in explainable AI, so she helped me for various experimental purposes. So I have divided the whole discussion under different sections. So basically, we will be evaluating the idea like how much any decision or results which we are generating is trustworthy. And for that, explainable AI is an emerging method which can help us to assess the performance of any of our AI ML models. So that will be discussed here. So I'm discussing the background part, then the explainable AI fundamentals, then there are various types of XAI, so that we will discuss. I will be taking some of the use cases, which is related to the healthcare domain as well as military applications. And also I will be giving you some of the thoughtful facts like how it can be evaluated with the help of certain set of metrics. So how we can evaluate the performance of any model so that we can build up the trust, and then what would be the trade-off, what would be the challenges, how it can be used in future. So these are the some of the outlines. So here you can see the overall theme is oriented towards these aspects like explainable AI is based on explain to justify, explain to control, explain to improve, and explain to discover. So here we will see the various methods of explaining the model performance. So you know that why this explainable AI is very much trending nowadays. So as of my personal research experience is concerned, I started observing the discussion based on XAI after 2012 or 13. So as per this whole research, I understood that this explainable AI is very much important nowadays because we are using machine learning everywhere. So it is not a surprising thing that machine learning is leading our lives in most of the dimensions. So for example, like if we are using our emails, so maybe every day in any normal student or academicians or business persons, they are getting 50 to 60 emails. But automatically now the Google has enhanced the criteria of selecting them as a general mail or spam mail or social media related mails or promotion related mails or some other updates. So this is all where some of the task is already simplified for our purposes. So that is one example. Other than this, we all are using machine learning, for example, through our travel apps. So maybe in your travel apps, you can get certain estimation, what is the expected arrival time of your vehicle, or maybe you can also get some other predictions. So basically machine learning is everywhere. And we are in a position to use these machine learning algorithms or methods or outcomes to take various kind of decision making processes. So it is affecting our life. So the problem is like most of the machine learning algorithms which we are using, it is it is very seriously affecting our lives, but they are lacking clarity. So clarity means they are most of the time you can say that they are in a black box model kind of arrangement. So black box means though we are getting many decisions, but we are not getting the explanation like why this particular decision or why other. So suppose if I am searching a product, so you can see that after few minutes, maybe the similar recommendations are received. So, or you can say that in your social media feed, you are getting a very special kind of or some very typical type of advertisements or some of these recommended videos. So the question comes like, why only this advertisement is coming to us? Why only this particular video is appearing in our social media suggested list? So there are many things where we see the outcome, but we have means there is no explanation available for that particular outcome. So this is the important issue where the explainable AI is taking a very important role. So what I can say, like most of the AI applications, including the machine learning part, it is a black box thing. So black box thing means we are getting many updates, many suggestions and many recommendations, and we are using many of our day-to-day applications which are AI driven or using ML applications, but they are in a black box way and we are not getting the explanation like why a particular decision is happening. So to overcome this gap, where not only the decision has to come to the end users, but also the explanations will also be catered to the end user, the role of explainable AI is coming into the existence. So the question is like what kind of explanations are required? So we can say that explanations are something which can make our understanding easy, or which can be which can be able to answer our queries, all possible set of queries, and which can also build up our confidence. So it may able to explain each and every feature which is involved in that particular machine learning. It can also support some kind of root cause analysis, or it can also support some kind of feature importance or overall accuracy of the model. So this is all where we can see that explainability is very much important. So we can say that the first thing is like, suppose we are getting one decision and the decision is nothing but suppose I want to take a loan, okay? And if there is any website available from any banking organization, and they have given certain set of queries, and if I am answering them, maybe my income and my other like my profile and maybe my choices in terms of taking some services and all. So after answering those set of queries, if I can get the amount of loan which can be given to me, so that can be maybe a low amount or medium amount or high amount. So suppose if I am getting a low amount, which is because I am very much sensitive to that information, so I should have all the rights to understand why only this particular amount is going to be sanctioned for my case. So that I need to understand. It can be because of my outstanding credit card, or it can be because of my organization which is not having good stability, or it can be because I am having some ad hoc job and something. So that should be very much clear to end user, so that user can take that decision in a very easy way. So basically, explainable AI is important to increase the trust and social acceptance. It is also very much important to trace and transparency. So transparency means we should able to understand why that particular decision is coming. Traceability is important if we want to debug or rework on that particular decision making. So suppose if I want, suppose I am doing certain prediction and I want to improve the prediction accuracy. So that prediction accuracy can be improved if I am knowing that which parameter is supporting that particular prediction. So maybe there are certain influential parameters and there may be less influential parameters, so that should be known to me. And for that, this traceability is important. And other than this, like we can also understand like what if there is any problem in the training data, we can also increase the robustness and reliability of the model. We can also get more fairness in the algorithmic performance. We can also get easily accepted decision-making capabilities, and finally the reputation and branding. So these are the basic reasons why any machine learning algorithm or any of our research initiatives should not only give the decision in terms of classification, prediction or clustering or maybe some other thing, but it should also give enough explanation so that the same results can be justified and can be utilized by the end users. So that is the one aspect. The another aspect is there are some regulatory requirements. So regulatory requirements are basically that is like a call for explanation, or we can say that it says that suppose for example, like we are everywhere learning that there are machine learning applications which are very much utilized now in medical domain. Okay, so suppose there is a X company and they have developed one machine learning model which can say that whether there is a possibility of any typical cancer to any typical patient. So, so on that particular case, suppose if they are taking some vital parameters or scans or some data, and if they are predicting whether the person is having cancer possibilities or not, so that prediction may not be enough. If for a 99% accuracy, let us assume that 1%. So suppose if there is a person who is not probable for the cancer disease, but somehow it got predicted, then who will be responsible for that? So basically now there are rules which says that if your life, my life, or if the citizen's life is get affected by any ML AI application, then the citizen has all the right to get informed. So suppose if we are utilizing certain applications which are AI based, so we should know that this application is AI based. So you can see that many times in social media feed, there are AI generated contents, there are AI generated videos, and maybe it is attracting us, maybe it is influencing us. So there should be proper disclaimer and it should indicate that this particular thing is AI generated or AI based on all. So this is very important thing. Here, everybody has all the right to get informed. So suppose if you are getting typical product suggestions from your Amazon account, so you have all the right to ask Amazon why I am getting only these products as a recommendation in every day or maybe very frequently. They need to answer it. So because of this, it is very important that whatever we are doing, we should include explainability to get ready for any justification which are related to our decision making process. So that's what explainability is very much important. So it can be it is important to solve many of the ethical concerns. It is important to solve many of the biasness related issues. It is important to justify the performance of your model in terms of various human factors like how it is not biased and how it is more means prejudiced or how it is poor or maybe strong in terms of various human factors. So to support all those, the explanation is very, very important. So many examples you can see, like in a financial part, if we are getting some AI-based decisions, so we have all the rights once to get the answer why this particular decision is coming to us and how it is calculated. One cannot say like, okay, our algorithm is showing that maybe you cannot be given that particular loan. So that would not be enough. Definitely, it is a very structured practice. So banking applications can use AI to decide whether the loan has to be given or not, but they need to answer it with our individual concerns. So that is the important thing. Even in healthcare, many of the similar things are there. So we need, if we want, we should have all the answers. So that is where the explanation is important. So we can say that nowadays any AI ML algorithm is not complete if they are not having explanation module with them, because explainability is the basic right of all the stakeholders, those who are concerned, related, or affected by the decision making of that particular AI ML algorithm. So for very simple examples, like if we are get affected by any of the decision making process, we may have some of the questions like how I can find error, how I can trust this particular decision, how this decision making is taking so much of time, why it is so quick, or how it is expensive. So these are the typical concern of any user. And so for all those purposes, we need to cater the things with some kind of explainable AI. Now, what it is making difference if we are preparing some ML and AI task for under this scenario. So this is the difference. Like earlier in a black box AI, we utilized data. We developed some kind of AI product, maybe based on certain machine learning algorithm, and there are certain decisions or recommendations. So it can be able to answer so many things like that all why part, when part, and how part. So so basically that part was not very much highlighted. It was somehow there, but it was not very much highlighted or clarified. But with the help of explainable AI, it should be clear and transparent predictions so that one can claim that that the user understood the why part, why not part, or maybe it understood all the consequences, shortcomings, and strong parts and everything. And how it is happening? It is happening because every decision is supported with certain set of explanations. And these explanations can be reworked again and again with the help of some kind of feedback loop. So basically here, there is a feedback which is important, and this feedback is making the decision making more explainable, and maybe we can rework some of the iterations for this. And this was the black box AI, and now this is the explainable AI model with a slight difference. So now the question comes, like, at what kind of means, at what level and what type of explainability is required. So suppose you are taking some data, and now you understood, okay, not only the prediction is important, but also the explainable AI you have to adopt to get every justification of your prediction. So the question comes, like, how to start, where to implement, what to do. So you can see that here we have explainable AI models with two different aspects. One, you can say that input related aspects, and second, you can say that output related aspects. So what happened? In a traditional machine learning practices, we are very much conscious about explaining the output. So whenever you are generating any of your project results or any of your research paper, you are explaining your output very thoroughly, right? So even like in a single research paper, you can see that there will be only one paragraph about data set description, but there may be 2-3 pages about the outcomes. So that is the normal practice. So we can say that outputs are very important to get explained. So, and the thing is, like, at what level? So one can say, okay, after doing all the experimentation, I explained each and every graph, and this was showing the overall performance of my model, maybe in terms of accuracy, ROC curve, and like F1 score and everything. So that is a kind of presentation which you did, and it is actually it is a global presentation. Global presentation means you represented your complete results with the help of those outputs. But see that global presentations may not be very comfortable to those who are not aware about that particular internal details. So suppose if I am a new user, so I want us very small details. So global presentation may not be it may not help me to understand. But suppose if you are representing local outputs also. Local output means step-by-step output at every stage. Then maybe it is more useful to me because I will get all the understanding and it will be more convincing to me. So we can say that whenever we are using the explainability under our consideration, so we can have output-based explainability, and output-based explainability means whatever output we are getting, maybe it is a local one or maybe it is a global one. So global means final output, local means maybe the intermediate outputs that we need to explain. Okay, so that is one thing. But you can see like it is a late explainability. So we can say that explain as early as possible. So suppose I started my project. So suppose it is a big project, maybe taking 2-3 months. Yeah, even PhD scholars can correlate if they are starting writing a paper. So it is taking 6 months or 4 months to complete everything. So late explainability would be difficult to justify your efforts or your consciousness or maybe your seriousness or maybe your correct track. But if you are adopting early explainability, so early explainability means not only the output but input can also get explained. So initially, whenever you have taken your data, have you studied your data well? Have you thought about the input features or intermediate features or the characteristics of the training data? And have you exercised everything which is possible with your data? So it will solve your many of the future problems. So that is the early stage explainability or explainability related to the input. So what I want to say, like, explainability is not only when we have achieved that result, but explainability is required as soon as possible when we started working on some task, some machine learning task or some project. and that explainability is really going to help you a lot for your future steps. Okay, so then we can say that explanation should also have several stages. So stages means maybe the pre-processing stage, maybe the model training stage, maybe the testing stage. So every stage should have the explainability possibilities, and that we need to exercise. And then the thing is, like, explanation should be also very much related to like what we are going to expose. So for example, like suppose we are not the mathematics person. So whenever we see any machine learning algorithm, if the utility is not very much highlighted to us and only algorithm is there where very difficult kind of, you can see that calculus results or some very complex algorithm with optimization condition, if it is there, so you can say that I am losing my motivation because it seems very difficult. Maybe because we are, suppose we are the ML engineers or we are the data scientists, so we should know that, but that may not be very much you can say that directly concerned to us. So this can this can defeat your motivation. Similarly, there can be different types of stakeholders. So for every stakeholder, there are different level of understanding which is expected. So here we can say that we need to decide like what level of explainability is required to the individual stakeholders. So stakeholders may be the students, stakeholders may be the researchers, or maybe the ML researchers or data science researchers or any other persons. So according to their interest, their capability, we need to identify the explainability. So there is one another term which I can clearly, I want to make it clear. Like there are two very closely related terms. One is interpretability and second is explainability. So interpretability means we can say that if we are doing one task and if the task is interpretable, then definitely you can get some guessing or maybe some idea about the next probable task. So I know that like if I completed the data cleaning part, so maybe after data cleaning, I can lead to the training task. And after completing that training task, I should understand like, okay, the next is the validation part, or maybe the next would be the testing part and the model evaluation. So interpretability means we should able to understand what happened and what would be the probable next stage. And what is the decision in between which we are receiving. But explanation is an overall effort to make something very clear. Okay, so basically here we are taking both terms together. First, whatever step you are doing, you have to make it very much interpretable so that it can be easily understood, accepted, as well as you should include all the basic things like it should be like expressive power, it should have transparency, it should have support the algorithmic complexity, and it should be very easy to understand or something which is in terms of a common sense. So that will help you to get the good level of explainability with your model. So you can understand it with one result, like in chemistry, we know that there is a titration step and we know that how to make the titration. So maybe step-by-step process. So that is interpretability. But why that particular color is changing or why we are evaluating that color change in terms of certain outcomes. So that is actually the explainability. So we can say that there may be two ways of emphasizing the task. The first thing is we are understanding how the model functions, and that has to be through more and more interpretability. We have to understand it. Maybe we know that sequence of steps which we are performing, and then we have to also understand that why the model is behaving in that particular way. So that is with the help of certain level of explainability. So here, there is one very important thing, as I told you, like in any of machine learning problems or solutions, human is always in the loop because these systems are developed for us. So we are end users. We have all the right to share feedback. So we are always in the loop. So the best part is even with the explainability, it assumes that human will always be in the loop. So basically, explainable AI is the intersection of artificial intelligence and human computer interactions, because what we try to explain, we try to explain all those aspects which are very much necessary for the humans to adopt, to understand. So basically all the methods of explainability is subjected to certain set of evaluations under the consideration of human understanding. So this is basically just to show like how AI, HCI, that is human computer interaction, and explainable AI is important. So, okay, moving ahead, let us see. Now the thing is like what kind of explainability is possible. So we can say that there can be very early stage of explainability, that is the declarative explainability. Declarative means we have already explained everything, like what we do in our research papers. Whenever we write research papers, so we declare each and everything. And then there can be degree of interaction more detailed. I said that there can be global explainability. So you highlighted your research outcomes, but there can also be the local explainability where you are making it more interactive from your side only, and you are giving you the step-by-step questions, possible set of questions, their explanations, and maybe their individual ideas. And the last one, which is something which still means it is a challenging one, but we are very much frequently using it nowadays. So I can say that up to last before 2 years, means 2 years back, it was challenging, but now it is very much in use. So that is the two-way explanations. So you can understand now this is the era of ChatGPT, where you can write a number of questions and you can get answers. So that is the two-way explanation. So two-way explanation in terms of OpenAI initiative, they did it well. But when we are working with the limited domain, suppose you are developing your own GPT, so providing two-way explanation is really a most difficult task, because you cannot assume all set of questions. You cannot pre-assume all set of questions, and accordingly you may not be able to predict all set of answers. So this is something which is challenging task. So basically these are the previous level of explanations. Now the question comes like, okay, it is all understood like explanation or explainable AI is important, but what is actually inside it? So under this fancy term, the core ingredients are nothing but certain set of output, and outputs are graphical based or visual outputs, or outputs can be justification in terms of written or auditory, or output can be the combination of all these. So ultimately, the explainable AI is doing what? It is generating various kinds of outputs in various stages, maybe in terms of visual pictures, maybe in terms of textual details, or maybe the combination of visual and textual details, maybe generation of new data points and all. So this is all about how we are styling the explanations in various stages. So now I am giving you one another picture. Suppose you are doing a simplest task, and this simplest task is nothing but certain set of prediction. Maybe you are using some regression model or something. So if this is the way, this is the simplest task, and now because it is a fancy term, because somebody has forced you to do it under the era of explainability, like include the explainability, then where are the possibilities? So the first possibility is you explain your objective thoroughly. So like what you are looking for, what you want to know, what you are trying to achieve. So it is an early explainability step. The second is like you define the scope. The third is you have to think about all the model framework in terms of explainability. So maybe variables, list out all the variables. What happen in usual research papers, if they are not highlighting the explainability part, they will show you these things in a very brief way. But suppose if your research paper is highlighting the explainability part, so there is very likely that it is going to highlight like each and every variable, their assumptions, their ground values, the parameters, how these parameters are relevant. Then it will highlight the type of operation which we are performing. It will also highlight like what kind of prediction we are targeting. So everything these has to be listed out. It has to be very carefully thought, and it has to be properly justified. So basically we can say that whenever we are working for the explainability under any situation like this, it is important to understand each and every variable, their role, their importance, their significance. It is also very much important to understand their model description. So you need to explain that. It is also important to understand each and every part of your training data, and also the algorithmic description, and finally so many related things, for example like feature relevance. So you have to understand, like those papers are highlighting the explainability under their achievement or title, they will be more elaborative even for the small details. But most of the, you can see that there can be a very high value impact factor value deep learning paper. They have shown all the results, but somehow because that was not their intention, so they hide it many of these things. So that may be the possible thing, but here since we are advocating the explainability utilities, so it is recommended that you need to highlight each and every aspect of your ML model. So there can be like again the thing like we have to see we are explaining to whom, then what we why we are explaining, then how to explain. There are various methods which I will showcase right now, and then when to explain, that also be highlighted in our next few slides. And finally, there can be the different taxonomies or different techniques. And ultimately, the stakeholders are everyone. So it can be engineer, scientist, ethics, or maybe end users and or consumers. So these are the various background part. Now I am coming to the levels of explainability. So you can see when we talk about the levels of explainability, there are three levels which can be possible. One is the pre-modeling explainability. Second is the interpretable mode or during training explainability. And third can be the post-modeling explainability. So these are the three different way of introducing the explainability. I must say this one, this medium one is the most difficult one, because nowadays if I am using Python, if I want to use any deep learning model, I need only one keyword. 2-3 important things like first install, then second import, and third is calling that particular method. So this is the only pain I need to take. And after that, there may be results which are appearing. So how we can say this one, like we are doing the explainability, means we are introducing the explainability at the time of our model training or model performance. So it means during our model operation. So that is the most difficult one, but definitely that is required, because we cannot rely upon the black box models, because these decisions are taking so much of our concern and affecting our lives very seriously. So see, these are the different level of explainability. Pre-modeling explainability we are doing, but now this highlighted XAI term is making it more prominent. So we can say that what we need to do, we need to do the data analysis for whatever data sets or whatever domain we have opted. We can do data summarization part, we can do data transformation part, we can make some assumptions, so that all short of EDA, that is exploratory data analysis part, or CDA, that is confirmatory data analysis part, where you are calculating the central tendency, mean, median, mode, outlier, kurtosis, whatever is sparseness, everything related to that. It will definitely help you to understand the whole problem scenario. You can say that it is a pre-modeling explainability. So that is very likely which fit with any of the studies. So we should definitely do that. Now you see the post-modeling explainability, because this is the most challenging one. So I will be taking this later. So post-modeling explainability means once your model training is completed, now you are ready with the result, then what to do. So definitely you need to justify your results with some very important highlights. So that can be of two types. One is the model agnostic approaches, and second is the model specific approaches. So model agnostic approaches means any XYZ model you are using, maybe you are using decision tree, or maybe you are using neural network, or maybe you are using a very recent deep learning models. So there should be a general way of explaining them. So that is actually the model agnostic approaches. Model specific approaches are those which are not a general kind of explanation techniques, but it is actually based on the particular models. So what I can say here, like most of the deep learning models nowadays, they are having their inbuilt explainability. So that is the model specific explainability approach. So most of the time you see, like as an outcome, they will be definitely showing you the saliency map. Saliency map is nothing but it is a way to highlight the pixel values in some reasons, so that to show that like how that particular reason is important to make any decision. So that type of model specific approaches are there. If we are not doing that, or if it is not feasible, so definitely whenever we get some results, we prepare confusion matrix, we prepare certain set of graphs, we show like what are the feature importance, so we can show the feature importance map or something like that. So that can be model agnostic approaches, which is possible with any set of machine learning model. So these two are there, but in between, this is something which is very important. So we can say that, like, suppose somebody is saying, okay, let us forget about the pre-modeling explainability and post-modeling explainability. But I want to understand how my machine learning model is working. So suppose if I'm being very comfortable and very clear here, I can take example of decision tree, because this is the simplest way to explain. Okay, decision tree, there can be certain parameter which we can calculate, that may be a decision making parameter. We can easily say, okay, lower values will go for that decision making, higher values will go for that decision making. So for every step by step, you can easily explain, because decision tree, rule based systems, they are very simple to explain, and you can say, okay, this is explainability in between, so how it is progressing. But this is not the reality nowadays, because decision trees are so simple to explain, but they have very limited performance. Deep learning models are very highly performed models, but they are very difficult to explain, because they have very complex structure, and most of the time you can see that they are progressing so fast. Like if I'm learning one deep learning model, definitely maybe after few months, 2 or 3 months, new deep learning models are there. So maybe I may not be able to update my knowledge in a very detailed way, but I can simply rely upon the state of the art and the model performance. So that is the reality part. So basically you can see, even for that particular label, that is the interpretable mode, there are certain models which are more prone, means more supportive for the explainability. So you can say that, like decision trees, fuzzy models, k-nearest neighbor model, or maybe some kind of clustering techniques, or some kind of rule-based systems, they are helping us to get easy explanations. So this is something which is very much useful, but that they are not very much performing well. So we have to see how to make, means the challenge is there, like how to adopt those machine learning models. They are more complex in nature, but they are lacking some kind of clarity in terms of explainability, and we have to introduce the explainability on that. So I will be giving you some of the use cases and examples where you can see how the explainability is available over there. Okay, so this is the detailed thing. You can see here, like what we are doing most of the time, like pre-modeling explainability, as I have already given you, that descriptive analysis, predictive analysis, diagnosis analysis, and descriptive analysis. So all kind of data analysis, even the cognitive analysis you can perform, data summarization, data transformation. So every data engineering related stuff we can do. Now, the second stage means we have to see that how to make the machine learning model interpretable. So here what we are doing, basically there are core models, so they are easy to interpret, so that we are using as a level 1. In level 2, there are the models which are not so easily, you can say that explainable. For that particular model, what we are doing, we are trying to make them interpretable with the help of these existing core models. So for example, like whatever results we are getting, after getting those results, we are trying to backtrack some of the outcomes, like how it is coming. And for example, like if we are getting the deep learning related models results, so what we can do, like we can backtrack in terms of calculating the feature importance map. So what we can do, we can change a small feature in the data and we can see the results. So there are certain intermediate ways where we try to utilize these aspects in a full way. Otherwise, we try to do some of the backtracking or feedbacking mechanism so that we can get the hybrid interpretable model. And lastly, we have some post-modeling approaches where textual justification, simplification, feature relevance, and visualization methods are working. And some of the models are already having their own way of explainability, so that we will explore in our further slide. So the another part is, like we have seen like how we can do the explainability at what stage. So we can see like it can be model specific, it can be model agnostic. Then the scope can be local or global. So global may be all together at once, local may be intermediate results. Then the problem type can be classification or regression. So they have their different way of explainability. Then the input data can be numerical, categorical, pictorial, textual, or time series. Then the output formats can also be on these particular things. So these all are the scope of the explainability, which we are going to utilize for very many of our tasks. So let us see here. So these are the two methods, like model agnostic, which is fit for any model. So what would be the model agnostic methods? So that can be textual justification, one type. The another type can be feature relevance, because feature relevance fit with any kind of model which we are using, because it is based on the data which you are considering. Then you can take some simple model generation. So simple model generation means, like if it is a what we can say, I will give you one example of line here. So there can be a very highly non-linear, suppose separation which of plane which you have generated. So non-linear things may be difficult to justify or explain. But if you zoom that particular graph, you will identify that certain portion, even in that non-linear texture, will be locally linear. So can we go on that level and justify that linear characteristics, maybe a very small portion of that particular graph, and then maybe these small linear justification will further merge together to understand the whole non-linear scenario. So that is the important part. So what we do for every result or for every model, we see this possibility. Can we do that model evaluation at the local level with small data sets, or maybe with a smaller portion of the results, whatever we have assumed, whatever we have received, can we make focus on that particular level? Once we understood that, then maybe we can go with that. So that is basically the simplified version of the model generation that we can do. There are certain methods that we'll see. And lastly, the visualization part. So basically, this is the model agnostic approaches. There are certain model specific approaches. So model specific means we all are aware about the support vector machine. So we already understand that support vector machine maybe can be used as a classifier problem, classification problem. There can be support vectors. Support vectors are those points which are supporting us to identify the separation margin, and we want to maximize this separation. So for the maximization purpose, if there are certain points which are helping us, so that can be the support vectors and all. So many things are here which already explain the working of your model. Then there can be neural networks. So even in the neural networks, we understand the architecture of our neural network layers. We understand that means there are certain, like in even your Python libraries, now it is only one command which you will use and you will get all the layers with their necessary tensor dimensions and everything. So you may able to understand, okay, what is the input, how it is processing, what could be the output dimension, and you may be able to get that. And there can be ensemble learners, so they are also coming with their model specific approaches. So maybe if you are using multiple ensembling of the classifiers, there can be various learners. So you may able to understand what is the contribution of each and every learner because of certain ensemble approaches which are available along with the explainability features. So these are the various types of explainability which we are using. So now the question comes like, what kind of explainability ultimately we are presenting? So we are presenting feature summary in many of the cases. So feature summary means there can be simple thing like you can explain each and every feature. There can be feature importance. After getting the result, what you can do, you can record your one result with X set of features. Then you can identify one particular feature, modify it or discard it and generate Y results. Maybe you discard two features and generate Z results, and you see X, Y, Z how they are differentiating. So maybe you may able to understand like whether the discarded features played some role or not. So if you are getting some significant drop in your whatever accuracy, so you can say that this you dropped accidentally, you dropped that particular feature. So somehow there can be various ways where we can get the idea about the feature summary. Then the model internals are nothing but these things which we have already explained. Like we can see like whatever results we are getting, what are the architectural details, what are the input dimensions, what was the output dimensions, whether they generated some set of rules, whether the rules are fuzzy rules, so what are the various parameters. Then there can be the data points. So data points are very important. We understand that whatever output we generate, that because explainable AI says that you are free to do iterations. So maybe you can do certain iterations and you can generate various output data points. And with the help of those output data points, you may able to explain the nature of your output with certain set of explanations. Last and the most critical one is surrogate intrinsically interpretable model. So what it says that like suppose if I am taking some examples and that example is having certain use cases, and these use cases, like I want to say that whether the person is having the possibility of diabetes or not. So maybe one can say if the person is obese or fat, if the person age is maybe like 60s or 50s, and if the person is less active, so and if he is not following good healthy habits, eating habits, so definitely there are chances of diabetes. It is a very simple thing. So developing surrogate things means what we do, we deliberately generate surrogate data of the similar characteristics to make a particular scenario more prominent. So we will, what we'll do, we'll maybe if it is not available through natural practices, we will generate that surrogate data and we make that study more prominent with the help of that. So that was a simple example, but we try to generate surrogate data related to each and every small data points or situations so that we can make more outcomes based on this. So that is going to help us in a more strong way about each and every possibilities of interpretation. So this is basically the result of explanation methods which we are going to highlight. So through feature summaries can be summary statistics where we are calculating the median mode, or it can be simple visualization, or it can be feature importance altogether. So or it can also be the partial dependence plot. So partial dependence plot means suppose we are calculating any prediction. So if we have taken 5 parameters as an input parameter, what is the prediction? We discarded 1, then what would be the prediction? We discarded 2, what would be the prediction? So basically we calculated whenever we are discarding any X parameter, how it is changing the particular prediction value. So basically that kind of partial dependence plots can be presented in the cases, various cases. And then there can be model internals. So model internals can be anything, like if you are trying to be specific in terms of some hyperparameters, which is a very fancy things these days. Most of the deep learning researchers, they are ultimately what they are doing after having all these heavyweight exercises, they are taking the help of some hyperparameter tuning and showing the results. So you can explain, there is nothing wrong. You can explain which parameter is useful for your result. And that is the model internal part. So maybe number of layers, maybe the architectures, maybe your dropout value, or maybe your any number of support vectors, or that C parameter, alpha parameter, whatever is there. You are free to use those parameters. You are free to draw conclusion, and you are free to list out that, and that would be an explainability stage where you are doing that during your model choosing your model, and during your training part, and that is all your model internals. So similarly for the data point, so basically we are going to see each and every data point, not only the input level, but also the output level. So output should also be generated more and more times with some feedback, and we can able to get that result. So that is the different way of explainability which we can achieve. So this is another way to think about like how the results of explanation methods can be gathered. So we can say that if there is a tabular data, that was the very basic form, that is the very basic format of the data, and so you can use any rule based explainability, and that is very obvious also. Whenever we deal the tabular data, we naturally we conclude like this. Whenever we are doing the image based data analysis, so you see most of the time those image based results are supported through saliency map. So saliency map, which highlights the contribution of each pixel at any level of prediction depending upon that particular situation. So that is the saliency map, right? Similarly, sometimes text-based things we are actually dealing. So sentence highlighting is very important. So if you see, like, so there are some very interesting examples of ChatGPT, like how it is giving us the paragraphs, next sentence, or how it is you just give one sentence, roughly written sentence, it can give you the more formulated and more formatted text. So basically it is through sentence highlighting, and it will highlight the contribution of the each word, and accordingly it will suggest the next likely word of possible.
몇 클리나이터 보여주나? 이때 집에 떠마죠. 집에 나 그런 거 있나? 너 형이나? 또 뭐지 너? 나 빠다 너. 나는 그래 너. 나. Painting, yung supervision.
No problem. Please take your time and. Hello, audience. Okay. So I request online audience to please mute. Okay, sorry about this description. So this is the text-based thing. So sentence highlighting can be a way to show the results of explanation methods. Feature importance, again, a very common way. So feature importance, you understand, like sometimes, especially that the classification problems, they utilize the feature importance as a result of explainability. Then there can be concept attribution. So you can understand there are certain things which are very important in any particular classification problem. For example, like now this is the era where either we are having, means there may be the possibility of having less data or no data. So you can see that we started normal machine learning. Now we are ready with zero shot learning or one shot learning, few shot learning, where we know that there is limited data. Though we are very much powerful in terms of data augmentation technique, where we are deliberately generating the data, but these are the all possible set of scenarios which are very likely among us. So here you can see like concept attribution means a typical very small detail, but we are very confident that this is definitely going to help us for explainability. So whenever you will see these type of textures, like black and white texture, you can simply say that, okay, this is the image of zebra. Whenever you see this black and maybe the golden texture, you will definitely say like this may be the panther or maybe the similar kind of animals. So that is the concept attribution where a very small concept can help us to predict very confidently. So that can also be possible and that can be given as a part of explainability. And then there can be attention based. So attention based means here we are not calculating one parameter, but we are calculating many parameters together in terms of correlation, in terms of similarity, and we are showing these kind of metrics of score, which shows that how the particular words are related to each other. So these are the different way where we are actually generating the results of the explainable AI methods. I think there is some problem. It is not going ahead. टैब स्क्रीन आपने फ्रीज किया था क्या? नहीं, बैटरी आप इसको इधर शिफ्ट कर दीजिए तो मैं Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please be interactive. सर बैठिए, सर अगर कुछ सजेशन देना चाहे तो बता सकते हैं. So
I'm having one question. Can I, after the presentation, or should I ask?
you are free, sir.
Up to what extent we should explain? I mean, we should implement explainability in our research paper. Up to what extent?
Actually, sir, there is a trade-off. Trade-off means जैसे कि जो complex models हैं, all the deep learning models are very complex. They are already having very good results. Even lack of explainability is supporting good results with better accuracy. So if that human factor you want to suppress, then without explanation you can go. But as I told you, like right to get informed, this is our basic right. So suppose if my life is affected by any AI/ML model, I have all the rights to get informed, like how that decision is there. So that human factor needs explanation. If we ignore that, then it is there. But now the problem is regulatory measures are there. So if you are developing any solution with AI/ML model, you have to be ready with the explanation maybe in the backend part. So it should be a kind of trade-off, like how much explainability is there, at what cost it should be there, and it is depending upon the criticality of the things. Like suppose if we are designing a space mission operation, so definitely we need to be 100% explainable. But suppose we are developing some kind of video games, so maybe we can say that it is okay not to be explainable for that sort of task. So that is the, I tried to answer your question.
That is fine. Thank you.
So these are the various methods where we can use the results. So I have, since my slides are already there, if you want to go to in detail, so I listed all the literature reviews. So we can see that these transparent models are inbuilt explainable. So we assume that they have good level of explainability without any extra effort. So basically decision tree, k-nearest neighbor and Bayesian methods. But then later for SVM and for rule-based learners, there are some efforts which you can put. So we can say that in general, there are 4 kind of explanation methods, like feature relevance. So there is a explainable model which is known as SHAP. So SHAP is the model I'm going to explain. So it says that how much important a particular data value is. For example, like suppose director sir is available, so how you are running your conference, and suppose director sir is on leave for next 4 days, then how you will run your conference. So this, you can understand the gap. So maybe you are lacking some kind of guidance or critical decision making power. So there can be difficulty. So that type of values which are important to us for any decision making can be calculated through the SHAP values. So that I will explain. Local explanation is having the same example. For example, like I'm getting a curve like this. So this is a highly nonlinear. If I want to explain all these maybe ups and downs, maybe I'm not very much explainable. But if I take a small portion of this as a linear problem, so I can say that how much that curve is growing and what will be the things. So that can be the local explanation. That is with the help of line. Then permutation importance is again a way of global explanation. So permutation importance says that suppose you have 10 parameters, take all 10 parameters together, see the result. Take 9 parameters, see the result. Take 5 parameters, see the result. Take exclusive combination of 5 parameters, maybe in all possible permutation combination, see the results, and finally say like what are the most important 5 set of parameters or 4 set of parameters, because you have to reduce the dimensionality also and you have to see the maximum outcome. So these studies or these experiments make some sense. So that is actually the permutation combination way of doing that explainability. Visual explanation is the same thing with a slight different way. Like you want to see the individual contribution of parameters, so that can be seen. So this is the list part. Important is this one. When I thought to do the sincere literature review, so I found that 2012 was the time when we had a very good paper starting.
Can you just once again explain the difference between SAP and line?
Okay, so line is for local interpretability, right? Local means a small portion of your data, or you can understand in this way, like you have a graph where that kind of non-linear pattern is coming, right? So complete showing all non-linear pattern maybe means explaining all non-linear pattern may be difficult. So what we do, we take a small portion of that graph, which is actually linear. That small portion is linear. So you can say that this graph is linear because of so and so value. So small portions can be easily justifiable, and we can break down our explanation in a small portions or limited chunks, so that at least for the local portion we can get good explainability, and later all those things can be combined for the global explainability. So that is the line use. SHAP is for the individual contribution. As I told you that example, like there may be 10 team members in a cricket team, but we know that if Virat Kohli is not playing, so maybe our team is weak. So we know the understanding, means we know the importance of any particular X user. Suppose you are not having a good bowler, so you that way you try to calculate contribution of each and every data point and identify the importance of that data point, and that is actually the SHAP value. I will be giving one more example, maybe it can be helpful. So these are the literature review part. I am just skipping, but if you are getting the slides, please go ahead with that if found interesting. There are some data sets which are as a state of the art used with good paper in terms of XAI. So we can see the COVID related data sets, electrical fault detection, PhysioNet data set, and some deep learning based approaches are given for the Alzheimer data set. So these are the data set which we have identified in various examples for the explainability purpose and their accuracies. So, okay, now I am coming back with some other details. Just 1 minute. Okay. So, the thing is like how to show the explainability in terms of output. So, you can say that there can be numerical explanations. Numerical explanations means showing the score. There can be rule-based explanation. There can be visual or mixed one. So, see this particular thing. So, for the numerical part, there are some examples like distill and compare. So, distill and compare means basically what we are doing, we are taking a complex model, making it more, you can say that lightweight with less number of parameters or less number of data points, And then we are trying to understand like how the individual parameters are working. So maybe you can reduce the dimensionality and you can prepare your model with less number of dimensions, so that less number of dimensions will give you the more focused conclusion, like what is the role of individual dimension for any decision making. So that is the distill and compare. Similarly, you can have global sensitivity analysis where individual parameter, how it is sensitive to make any decision making can be seen. And then we have the feature auditing aspects also. So GFA is the gradient feature auditing method. It says that how the individual feature is important in terms of reliability. Like you can say that there can be various parameters which are affecting the results, but there are certain parameters, they are more proven in terms of their presence, means they are more reliable in terms of getting a particular decision making. So these are the way of working when we decide the output format. And then other thing you can see that whenever we are having the possibilities of rule-based explanation, so that is the very important or very convenient one. So you can see that rule-based explainability, it fit everywhere in most of the decision-making thing. Anchors are basically some small composition of rules for a particular situation. So like this one, and genetic rule extractions are basically first we generate the rules and then accordingly we try to utilize this in terms of genetic algorithm explanation. So we try to understand like how to map that with respect to the genetic algorithm. So these are the rule-based explanations. Visual explanations are again the similar thing. Maybe you can see that this way, like you are getting the neural network models to be explained in terms of each and every layer. So that is the explanation graph which we can generate by using Python libraries. You can get this one RS, that is the restricted support reason set. So this is also very important. Here you want to see the stable part of your model. So subset of input space where the model predictions are consistent. So you know you have to identify that like this is the input space where if you are changing, even if you are changing or you are doing anything, you will see that you will be getting the consistent predictions. So that can be one way. Sometimes we use spectral methods to highlight the important features. So like this. So again, the heat maps or some kind of like saliency map can help to understand. So most of the deep learning segmentation related results you see, it is always highlighted in this way. Then there can be the partial importance and individual condition importance graph. So as the name indicates, partial importance means we try to understand that a particular parameter, how it is important. So maybe you can include and exclude that for your machine learning task. Individual conditional importance plots are basically with not only the one parameter, but we tried to see like how the affiliation of two parameters together can help us to understand their affinity or their maybe the support of each other to get any justification about the plot. So these are the things. Then there can be a kind of example, means tools like explainer. Explainer is a tool. It is not only giving you the textual things, but also the image part, graph part, and everything. So it is the mixture of numerical, visual, and textual explanation to show the performance of your models which we are using. So that is the way how we are capturing the explainability part. Suppose the visual explanations are there. So these are the saliency maps, and these are the principal component analysis method, or TSNE, that is the dimensionality reduction method. So they are also giving us the importance of each and every dimension in terms of taking them or discarding them to get better understanding about the explainability. Okay. So later now you can see every day the new machine learning, especially the deep learning model is coming, and they have their inbuilt way of explanation. So sometimes you can see that they are representing the explanation with the help of and or graph, a simple graph. Sometimes they are representing the explanation with the help of like symbolic graph reasoning. Maybe it is nothing but a kind of heat map, color combination, segmented regions which they are showing. So there are various these kind of things. Sometimes it is a kind of like data flow graph where not only the individual architecture is shown, but every architecture is shown in terms of all possible set of input values, dimensions, and everything, so that can be available. Then you can see that this is the word importance score that we already use in many NLP models. So it is again explaining the significance of individual word here. And then maybe the decision tree, we are well known that decision trees and rule-based systems are very easily understood. So these are some kind of things like rule-based systems are given simple rule-based systems, or they are rules along with probability. So that is Bayesian rule-based systems. They are fuzzy related rule-based systems. So not only the rules, but they are using all the fuzziness factor and the assumptions related to that, so that even the rule-based systems can have multiple way of generating them for interpretation of certain set of results. Then hierarchical methods, you can say that. So there are nomograms. It is showing each and every block along with some of the detailing values, or some this one self-organizing maps are there. Some metrics related presentations are there. So they are not only showing the individual model explainability, but it is showing the explainability of various models together. So that can be the possible ways. So you can see that the references are given here. So maybe it can be of your use. So just go through all those things. It was just taken from various papers. Now I am demonstrating the two examples for which the practical is not very difficult, because Lime is having the Python library Lime, so it can be easily checked. So what it says, Lime is for local interpretation, and it is a model agnostic approach. So model agnostic means it can fit with any of the machine learning model. So you can see that there can be data like this, like sneezing, weight, and headache, or something like this. And there can be machine learning decision like flu. So now the question comes, like how these individual parameters are helping for the this particular decision. So here with the help of Lime, we can able to understand the role, like for flu, though these all things are there in your data, but maybe weight is not very much role player. Maybe age is also not very much role player, but these two symptoms are role player, and they are leading towards the flu. So these kind of individual contribution we can say calculate. So it is Lime is used with tabular, image, and text based things. So what I was trying to tell you here, what we do in the Lime. So basically we try to understand small details. So suppose this is the graph, which is a complex non-linear graph. So Lime may not be helpful to explain the complete scenario, but Lime will helpful to give you the small local part. How? It says that you can generate some kind of surrogate data. So suppose here we had only one point, red point. So what we can do to understand this local separation, maybe it is a linear separation, can we generate some more similar data and to check whether our model is fitting with that set of data in the local separation or not. So at least for this particular part, where there is a complex non-linear graph, but a small amount of linear graph to make your assumption well. So in this way, we can divide our result domain or output domain into various small sections, and we try to understand their local interpretation, and then finally it will collectively understood as a global values. Now there is the Shapley. Shapley says that there can be various instances, but we have to see the result of any particular instance. So I can show you the example. It is actually taken from the game theory. So let us understand like the cricket example or any game example. So suppose there are 8 players, right? and or 4 players, let us assume, and you can understand if the team is winning any trophy. So definitely all 4 players played well. But we want to understand which player is maybe means what is the individual contribution. Sometimes it is not very clear. So what it says that like you generate any kind of profit or maybe output or maybe your machine learning result by taking all these players. Okay, suppose X. Then what you do, you discard one player. So suppose we discarded player A. We again generated our model output or whatever with the help of B and C and D, and we will compare these two. So whatever gap you will receive, that gap is because the player A was not available. Similarly, you need to repeat for player B, player C, player D, and finally you have to calculate the sum of all those marginal contribution of individual player. Then whatever values you are getting, they are nothing but the sharp values of individual data points, or maybe the here we are taking the example as a player. So or the subgroup, or maybe the individual important value, and this will give you the sharp value, and we can calculate like how the individual parameter is playing an important role for the decision making. So these are the shape and time tools which are available with the Python machine learning libraries, and you can utilize them well for any of your model agnostic approaches of explainability. So because of the limited time,
You said that with the help of the permutation impedance, we are moving from one feature, and by combining the rest of the feature, we are testing the probability of each and every feature impedance. The same thing is available in SAP. So what is the difference
Okay,
in SAP?
okay. So actually that is the concept, and these are tools.
Permutation impedance is not a.
It's a concept, like we can take permutation, combination, we can calculate.
But that library is there in Python. Permutation impedance library is also there in Python. So it's not a concept. We can use that.
Yeah, but SHAP and LIME are the means we can say that they are the most well-established set of tools where you can ultimately everywhere you will find out the feature importance. You will find out this kind of like component importance, partial dependency. So everything is very much related. But ultimately, it is combined with these SHAP and this LIME libraries, and they have the holistic coverage of all those small things.
Some of the journals they have used both SAP as well as.
Yeah, you can do that because the LIME is for local interpretability and SHAP is for the individual contribution. So they have different aspects of highlighting the points.
But in some of the journals, they have used both SAP as well as permutation impedance.
Yeah, it can be possible. It's depending upon like how you want to highlight it. Okay, so now I am coming
I
to
have a question.
yes, ma'am.
That, we normally sometimes do addition study, right?
Yeah,
We remove one component and try to find out the missing one.
yes.
What is the difference between these, whatever you were mentioning under SHAP and then addition study that we normally work on?
See, that I have already spoken very beginning, like this was suppressed. It was a small part of your study. But now we are giving lot
More
of emphasis to this part only. Like whatever you are doing, it's okay. But why we should explain that the explainable AI is advocating only all those necessary steps. So the same thing, like we did feature engineering before also, but we may have not presented it.
In terms of XAI.
Yeah, it was suppressed because we did it for our benefit, but it was not for the purpose of explainability. Maybe you used it, but you have never explained in your algorithm specifically those steps. But here it has given the importance to explain each and everything so that one can understand the model performance in particular. So I think because of the limited time, so I am trying to conclude those things. So I have one very important thing. These are the keywords which anyone can understand. Like this XAI is important because of these things. So transparency, it is supporting. Domain sense is important, like in healthcare, like in critical operations, for example, like space missions or maybe defense sectors. This is very important to have explainability. Consistency is definitely there. It should be there in any application. Parsimony is nothing but the simplicity. For the sake of simplicity, also explainability is required. Generalizability can also be supported with the explainability. Like sometimes what happen, like in X data set, your model is performing well, but in Y data set, your model is not performing well. So that explainability is required why it is happening. So whether it is means your model should have the generalizability capability, and it has to be supported by the explainability. And so these are the basic things. So that I am skipping now because we have limited time. I'm going for some other things. Let's see here. One last slide, maybe. Yes. So you can see that this is the part where we are now. So we have low interpretable models and high interpretable models. Okay, we have low computational complexity models and we have high computational complexity models. So basically, we need a trade-off between all those. Like we need very good, capable, complex deep learning model, definitely, but we should also need most established models. So can we make deep learning models most explainable? If not, let us not compromise the explainability. Let us come with a trade-off where we will get a genuine part of explainability with good level of accuracy or performance. So this is the trade-off where we need to see. Okay. Then once we are having all these kind of trade-offs, so definitely we can justify fairness, performance, transparency, and user privacy. Or you can say this is the gap. The gap means like you can say deep learning models, they are having highly like model accuracy is very high, but you can say that the explainability is very low here only. Your rule-based systems, they were having poor model accuracy, but they are good to explain. So basically the future is lies here. It was just a way to explain, like, can we make our deep learning models more explainable? Can we make our ensemble models more explainable? Because they are very much popular in terms of accuracy, but still they are challenging in terms of explainability. So future research means take these as a part of your explainability exercises and make them more better, more adaptable, more useful for the end users. So this is the thing. And lastly, I want to say, like these days, AI word is not a full or complete word. So AI word should have all those characteristics: fairness, privacy, accountability, ethics, transparency, security, and safety. And it should come up with a new keyword, that is the responsible AI, because we all are very much dependent on these AI solutions. So definitely we have all the rights to get supported with all these basic ethical things, so that whatever we are utilizing them, it should come up with all fair uses. So this is the concluding statement. So we can say that AI with responsible keyword may be making more sense for our day-to-day applications. So possible research areas, I have already given you some hint. But anyway, if there are any questions or maybe your suggestions, definitely, because maybe you have identified certain critical points, so I would be happy to learn. Yes.
Ma'am, how one can measure the effectiveness of the XAI, and how one can know that about the XAI is transparent and very much trustworthy. Is that trustworthy or not, or transparent or not? Is there anything available, like we can measure how much effectiveness is in our XI model? So
Okay. So Unfortunately, I deleted that slide only here. So like suppose I have 5 XAI methods and I want to select which XAI method I need to take. So it is again a majority voting kind of concept. So suppose like we are using feature importance, we are using partial dependency graphs, or we are using some kind of rule based systems. So ultimately, multiple exercise you can do, and if you are every time you are getting the there can be different way of calculating feature importance, and every time you are getting the similar results, so you can say that this particular method is a more stable method for explainability. So this is the way, there can be various methods, but ultimately you need to converge to some common objective. So you can cross check your explainability justifications with more than one methods, and accordingly you can come up.
Okay, ma'am, I have one other question. What are the challenges and what are the disadvantages of explainable AI? And you already explained about the interpretability. Do you think interpretability sometimes make a issue like more interpretability can give a output like very much unfairness or biased data like
Uh,
biased result? So
okay.
how one can solve that problem if I have given more interpretability questions and I have trained more interpreter. So how one can solve that?
Okay, so the first question was like, what was the first?
What are the challenges and
Challenges.
disadvantages?
So the challenge is like it is going to be overburdened if you are honestly following each and every step, whatever was listed here. So it is going to be overburdened. So definitely we need to take a trade-off. Means we should not like over testing is always bad and under testing is risky. So we need to identify in between. So that is the challenge part. Like it is going to be more exhaustive method, so more time taking, more costly method. So explainability should also be taken or chosen in a wise way, in a genuine way. So that was the first thing. The second thing is like if we are doing interpretability in a very excessive way, then what can be its negative effect? So as I told you, suppose you have started one paper, you started reading it, and this paper is having only mathematics. So definitely you will lose your interest because maybe mathematical derivation is not of you, means maybe it is good to understand, but it may not be your prime concern. So actually the over explainability or over interpretability sometimes makes the model adaptation more costly or more tedious. So that has to be genuinely represented to the respective stakeholder. So if you are representing to the end user, your explainability is more towards the ethical side of it or acceptability side of it. If you are representing the same thing to researchers, it can be a different stakeholder. So your explainability may be towards the confidence building, towards getting more insights. So it is depending upon the stakeholder to whom you are catering your explainability. So accordingly, you can choose that explainability important. So maybe end users are not interested in the technical things, but they have they want to understand very clear correlation between input and output.
Are there any early stopping techniques like to overcome this?
Early stopping techniques in terms of explainability. So explainability is actually, we can say that we can see the possibility of early stopping if we are making it more and more iterative.
Okay.
Otherwise, most of the papers you see, they are doing it in a one go or maybe 2-3 iterations only.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the nice explanation.
Any other questions?
And there is the one online question. Regarding the result of explanation methods, you mentioned the data points. Which data points resulted in more explainability? Can you explain that part? And can we know which data points have been explaining the output?
Okay, so that data point I have taken as a very general and loose terms. So I was having two intentions. One is the input data point and second is the output data point. So input data point means we need to understand like how the data point is supporting our decision. So that input data points can be related to your different dimensions. So you have to see like how many dimensions are useful. Can we cut down certain set of dimensions and do the dimensionality reduction techniques and doing it well for the similar studies and understanding the importance of each and every dimension, and also to reduce the computational overhead. The another concern was related to the output side data points. So sometimes, as I told you, like explainable AI can be iterative processes. We may repeat the exercise for better explainability. So even for the output values, you can create your own traces, and according to that traces, we can decide like which is better result. So results representation in terms of data point can also help us to understand the explainability process and the genuine method of explainability.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions?